Well, hi, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And yeah, that's what we do here. And I'm a little rattled at the moment. I was just recording this, and I was like 25 minutes into it when all of a sudden the power went out. Now, I'm talking pitch black neighborhood. I'm talking there is no thunder, there is no lightning, it's not storming. I'm sitting here talking about a slasher, and the power just goes out. Thankfully, for only about 25 seconds. But here we go. So, my irritation level is up here, not to mention that, yeah, for about 20 seconds, I thought, okay, here comes the stab. Yeah, where? I don't know, but it's coming. So let's try this from my perspective. Let's try this again, shall we? I'll try not to talk so damn fast. It's like, is it going to happen again? You know? Because if it is, I'm not going to do it till tomorrow. I'm through with this shit. So, we are continuing our journey, or finishing our journey in anticipation and celebration of the new Scream 5. I keep wanting to call it Stab. Scream 5, which is coming out, and we are going to finish up tonight with Scream 4. Now, Scream 4 was released in 2011, directed by Wes Craven, and it stars the usual suspects: David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Neve Campbell. There's some, you know, there's a lot of nice little cameos in here as well, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, so we're going to try to get through this time and talk a little bit about Scream 4, and then I'll do my ranking, which I hate ranking this franchise because I love them all four for, you know, their individual reasons. Having to rank a franchise in which that is the case is very difficult, but people like rankings, and you know, you have to put them in order, I guess. So yeah, I will do that. I do love them, so the bottom one is still a great love of mine. I love this franchise, and I'm hoping Scream 5 will be, you know, just as good. I hate that Wes died and can't, you know, continue the franchise under his own power, but you know, I have faith in the new director. I think he can do it, and I think Scream 5 is going to be great. We won't know, though, until we see, will we? So, but my hopes are high. So, as usual, gather around the campfire and let's tell a story, shall we? A scary story to tell in the dark. But, well, not that kind of dark, though. Don't happen again, okay? So, we're used to the intros in Scream, so Wes decided to shake us up a little bit with this one, which I enjoyed very much. We have the opening intro, which actually has one of my favorite lines in the Scream franchise, which was when one of the girls says to the other one, I guess they were talking about Saw 4, and she says, I've seen it, and that's not scary. It's not scary, it's just gross. And you know how I hate that torture porn shit. So I really identify with that when this movie came out. I really identified with it because that is my feelings about torture porn, so I often use that line when people are talking about movies that I feel are that genre. Now, I like gore. You know, I am a little wussy. I will turn and look the other way if it goes too far. But if the whole movie is based on that, I don't like torture porn. You know, if it's something like I Spit on Your Grave 2, which is one of my favorite movies, I can turn away in a couple of scenes, you know, that moment. And so, you know, I'm a little wuss when it comes to it, but I still love the movie, and the movie makes up for it. So yeah, I really loved that line. And then as that intro went on, we found out that we had been duped by Wes because it turns out that intro was actually an intro that was being watched by two girls on the couch for Stab 6. So we're like, okay, that was new. So I liked it. I liked the way it kind of tripped me out. And in the second intro, which we think is the real one, we get to see Anna Paquin from True Blood. Now, True Blood, I have all the seasons right over there. True Blood is one of my favorite shows. I love True Blood. Got all this DVD packs right over there. So, getting to see Anna Paquin as Rachel in it was cool. And it was short but sweet, and I liked her kill. And then we find out that we have just been duped for a second time. Shame on you, Wes. And it turns out that that was actually the opening for Stab 7. So we're in another intro, and we're not really sure, is this the real one or not? We get the intro with Jenny and Marnie, and it lasts a lot longer because, yes, it is. It's the real intro to Scream 4. So I really loved it. I love the kills in it. I love the way it was done. I love the openings for Scream. The original Scream has the best movie opener of any movie across any genre of all time, in my opinion. So, yeah, having this triple intro to being faked out twice was really cool. So we head on into the movie, and as usual, these movies kind of show you what's happened to the characters. Sydney is going to a book signing. She's been on a book tour, so she has written a book called Out of the Darkness, in which she is going to leave her horrible past behind and start a new life. And the book tour is ending here in her hometown, where everything bad happened. So that's pretty cool. And we get introduced to Gail and Dewey again, waking up in their little white picket fence house. They've been married for 10 years now, and seem to be fine, other than Gail having some frustrations about what to do with her life because she is no longer an investigative reporter. And yeah, so he goes outside to go to work, and we get introduced to Kirby, Jill, and Olivia. Jill being Sydney's cousin, and so she's family, she's blood. And we get introduced to these characters as they're heading off to school. I really like these characters. There is no character in Scream 4 that I don't like. So that was another big plus for Scream 4. I had no problem with any of the characters. They all did it fine and dandy. They're great. We also get when Dewey does get to work, we get introduced to Deputy Hicks, Judy, and her lemon squares, which taste like ass, according to Gail. And we have a little scene in the police station where we get introduced to Deputy Hoss and Deputy Perkins. Both of I love, especially Perkins. I love those two characters as well. We then are taken to school. Of course, my notes are right here to keep my timeline straight so I don't jump all around. We get introduced to Robbie, Charlie, and Trevor. Now, Robbie is my crush for this movie, but he was already my crush. Robbie starred, the guy who plays Robbie, starred in a TV series called Jericho with Skeet Ulrich. So, Skeet and him were in a series already, so I recognized both of them, but I already knew him. I love Jericho. I was actually part of the write-in campaign. Jericho was a fantastic TV show, a post-apocalyptic TV show, and they made one season and tried to screw us over and weren't going to make another one, and it became one of the rare instances where the public were so outraged because Jericho had a fanatical fan base. And with the writing campaign, they actually got them to create a shorter but second season to wrap everything up, finish telling the story, and end it perfectly. So it's basically like a huge, long. How many episodes were in the first season? It was a lot. So it's probably like a 20 episode or 22 episode movie. But I was very proud to be part of that campaign to get this story finished. So that's where I know Robbie from. And it's where, of course, I instantly knew who Skeet was when I saw him in it. So yeah, that's my baby in this movie. So, where are we at? The cast, our main group meets up at her book party. That's where Gail and Dewey and Sydney all meet up. Now, right before that, Dewey had gotten a phone call about the murders of those two girls from the intro. So, we get, and he has traced the coordinates of the phone that was stolen from the house to the bookstore. So he wants everybody to shut up so that he can call the number. It turns out that it's in the boot of Sydney's rental car. That's where that phone is at. So there goes the suspicions against her, and or the threats against her, was that it's there in her car, and we now know that the game is afoot. Yeah, that it's time to start playing. So we see a little scene between Gail and Judy at the office, showing that Judy has a fascination with Dewey, which I get you, girl, because if you've seen my other reviews, I like Dewey. So I'm totally understand what you can see in that dumbass. So I understand. And hey, people make fun of Dewey, but Gail married him, but then again, she's not a whiz kid either, is she? But what does that say about me? I don't know. I like dating dumb people. I don't know. But I'm attracted to idiots. Is that it? Is that what you're going to accuse me of being? Whatever. So, yeah, we get to see them sort of put the game into motion. We are introduced to Jill's mom. Because, of course, now that all of this is going on, you have the cops. The cops, like Deputy Perkins and Haas, are kind of guarding the two houses where where Jill lives. So, because that's where Sydney is staying. So, Olivia lives right next door to her. We get introduced to Jill's mom, which turns out to be Mary McDonnell, which thrilled me to death. Because Mary McDonnell played Rosalind, President Rosalind, and Laura Rosalind in Battlestar Galactica. You also might remember her from Dances with Wolves, but she is President Rosalind to me from Battlestar Galactica, and one of my favorite characters from that show. So to see her was quite thrilling for me. So we get introduced to her. Trevor and Jill have a scene upstairs in the bedroom that is, kind of a very, very close to the original scene with Sydney and Skeet. Sydney and Billy back in the original. So Sydney walks in and catches Trevor in the bedroom, and that sort of gives her a flashback, to that exact moment. So I guess that was sort of like an homage to the first movie. Sid and Judy, they have a little interaction, so we get to see her and Judy Sydney and Judy have a little talk, and it's also the first time that I suspected Judy, because she kind of appeared out of nowhere, and Ghostface ends up calling Kirby, who is upstairs with Jill in the bedroom, and Olivia's across the street, or next door, I'm sorry, um, and starts spooking her out. They think it's Trevor at the beginning, but it's not. And he fakes them out by telling them that he's in the closet. So there's that little scene where they chickenly open up the closet, only to have him fake them out and say, "I didn't say I was in your closet." So he's across the street, and we get to see the wonderfully brutal. That's another thing about this movie, is that it it toned down the campiness and went back to a more horror element. It still kept some camp and fun, but it wasn't near as campy and funny as the third one. Um, so yeah, it went back because Olivia's kill is, I love it. It is brutally horrid, and the perfect mixture of a good kill, all the elements of a good kill. So yeah, I loved that. Sydney, of course, goes after her and runs across the street to try to get a hold of her, where she gets a call from Ghostface while she's in there, and then they have this huge fight. Um, and that's kind of where, like I put in my notes, is it Judy or is it Trevor? Because right about this time is where I started like having my suspicions about Trevor and Judy. That's who I was suspicious of at this point in the movie, was those two. Um, Olivia's murder has happened, of course, now. So Gail runs into Charlie and Robbie in the yard, and they sort of team up because she's mad, at Dewey, um, because he's kind of cutting her out of the investigation. So she decides to team up with these little high schoolers, which was really funny to see her team up with Charlie and Robbie. And the cost was that her and Sydney had to go and appear in their cinema club at school as special guests. So she did that. We get to see that at the cinema club, where Sydney and Gail and Charlie and Robbie discuss the rules and discuss theories about what's going on. So we get to see that. Um, it is at this point where Rebecca, because of what's happened, tries to convince Sydney to write more books. And Sydney doesn't want to, and she tells her that she's got a three, that she could write her own price, and the publishing company would have a 3 book deal for her right now if she would just sign it. And she refuses and fires Rebecca. Rebecca goes down into the underground parking garage, where we have Rebecca's kill, which is awesome. It really gave me P2 vibes. If you have not seen the horror movie P2, you need to. It's the story about a woman who gets, left sort of locked in to her place of business in the parking garage. And the whole movie is her being chased, tortured, and tormented by the security guard. And so Rebecca's kill really gave me P2 vibes, which I really loved, that. Yeah. So Dewey and is having a press conference about the stuff that's going on, and he again kind of snubs Gail when she starts acting like a reporter and says that, doing the usual dibble talk about how they're going to go after leads and suspects, when all of a sudden Rebecca's body is thrown off the roof down and hits the car down into the press conference. So that was a very interesting scene. Um, let's see where we at the, you know, they had heard at the club about the Stabathon party, because you have to have a party in the movies. So they had heard that the Stabathon party was the party that was going to take place, where we know more stuff should happen. And Gail ends up sneaking into that. Um, Jill doesn't, her mom won't let her go, so she stays at home. Sydney's at home with her. Kirby goes to the Stabathon, and Gail sneaks into the Stabathon as well, where she begins to plant cameras all through the party, only to go outside and think that she's done a great job, only to see the cameras being turned over and covered up. So she kind of freaks out. She's called Dewey, who had, and told him that she was at this party and that the party was going to be where something happens, and it does. So he's on his way to the party, and she then sees her cameras being covered up, so she goes back in to fix them, only to see someone else has got a camera in there too, and she gets attacked by Ghostface and stabbed, which pretty much takes her out of the movie. She's taken off to hospital and taken out of the movie for all intents and purposes, for up until the end. So she gets stabbed. Dewey rescues her, sort of, and Ghostface gets away, and things are continuing where I'm trying to get the names correct. So we're back at the house, and we get to see Deputy Prescott and Deputy Haas. I love both of them. Deputy Haas, you might know from Jennifer's Body. That's Deputy Haas. He was in Jennifer's Body as well. So his name is Adam Brody, and that's a little cameo character that he gets to play in this movie. So we get to see that kill, which was awesome. Especially Prescott's performance and his dying words of, fuck Bruce Willis, and then he drops dead in the street. But he had been stabbed right into the forehead, and that was a really good kill. And yeah, so I really enjoyed those kills. Jill's mom comes back home, and Sydney is in the house. Sydney cannot find Jill, and when her mom comes back home, Miss Roberts. So that's when we get her kill, which was, I didn't see that coming at all when Jill's mom got killed. Once she tells her that Jill's not upstairs and that they can't find her, they're going to leave and go find Jill, because Jill has decided to go to an after Stabathon party at her house. She's having that at her house. So they get attacked by Ghostface, and once again we get to see what really appears to be two Ghostfaces. That had happened earlier as well, and this scene really did make you do a double take, because it really did appear that there was two in this scene, because they had just been at the back door. There really wasn't no way for Ghostface to get around that house that fast. So that was one of they had already done a couple of, I think there's two, and this one really kind of made you think that there was two killers, and yeah, so that you had to factor that into your thoughts about the movie. So Kirby and Charlie and Robbie and Jill are at her house, her personal home, and are going to continue to watch Stab 7. And Trevor shows up claiming that he had been invited there by Jill, but Jill can't find her phone and I didn't invite you, so we're left wondering now even more. I was wondering even more about Trevor at this point. Like I said, we had seen Jill's mom get killed, which was a fantastic kill scene because the reason that scene was so fantastic to me was because that's kind of what I would have done. And even though we saw the door, did you notice the letterbox? Because I wouldn't have noticed the letterbox either. So, I mean, Ghostface is trying to get into the door, and Jill is telling her, brace it at the bottom. Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I'd have said, and probably been stupid enough or unlucky enough to be the one to do it. Because that is a good idea, but I didn't notice the letterbox either. So I didn't see that when she's like, come on, let's run. And then Jill's mom cries out, and she has been stabbed through the letterbox. And I thought, that was good. That was really good. So Sydney, Judy shows up, which was more suspicion in my mind because Judy shows up seemingly out of nowhere again. And I immediately think that something is going on there. And Gail is off in the hospital, and Sydney kind of ducks Judy and takes off and to go find Jill at this party. So, Kirby, Jill, Charlie, Robbie is at Kirby's house with Trevor, and you're wondering who invited him because none of them know. So I'm really still suspecting Judy and Trevor. Those are the two that I am suspecting the most at this point of the movie. Then there's lots of stuff that goes on between them, a lot of banter and stuff that's really enjoyable. I really love it. I mean, I really never took my mind or my eyes off of this hour and 51-minute movie. That's how good it was paced, how good it was done. It really, an hour and 51 minutes really flew by is what I'm saying. So it was just really done very well in my opinion, time-wise. So we then, of course, what always happens to me in a horror movie, I think aside from Final Destination, I've never had someone I had a crush on in a movie live. I feel sorry for the actors or characters. Because if I watch a movie, sometimes I don't want to say out loud, that's my crush, or I really like him. Because I know it's an instant death sentence. If I say, that's my crush, they're dead. That's a guarantee. So, we get to see Robbie's kill, which was WTF, I'm like, I really liked that. They done that kill very, very well. Sydney calls Dewey and tells him that the killer is there. Ghostface is attacking them. They don't know that Robbie's dead yet. And where the hell is Charlie? And where the hell is Trevor? They can't find any of them. So I'm, of course, really, really tunnel visioned on Trevor. Because they didn't, go out of their way to make you like him or anything. So, which actually should have been a sign I shouldn't have been considering him because they want to surprise you. And he was an asshole. So, or a seemingly asshole. So, but, Sydney and Kirby can't find Jill. They end up down in the basement where we finally do see Charlie because Robbie's been killed. And Charlie has got blood all over his hands, and Sydney tells Kirby, if you don't trust him, don't let him in. Well, I mean, to tell the truth, they didn't even get to kiss, so I wouldn't have trusted him either. And I really love the character of Charlie as well. So, supposedly, we get to see Charlie attacked, and tied to a chair, which is another homage to the original, like Drew Barrymore's boyfriend. He's tied in the exact same way to a chair sitting outside the window, where Ghostface plays trivia with Kirby again, and she thinks she's won the the trivia battle on the phone, and she goes out there to him to help him out of the chair, only to then be murdered by Charlie, which I didn't see that coming the first time that I saw it. You know, what I mean, I really did not see that coming. So, um, bravo, Wes, because I didn't see that coming at all. And now we know our killer is Charlie. So, they don't really put a lot of time in between it, because once Charlie kills Kirby, he runs into the house, and immediately Jill is attacked. I mean, Sydney is attacked, and almost instantly. I mean, but between the two, it was really really fast, because Ghostface takes his mask off and it's Jill. So all the time I had been thinking on several occasions that it was Trevor and Judy, and actually it was Charlie and Jill. So, Jill gives her, Jill gives her little speech and starts giving her, um, her little speech about why she's doing this, her jealousy speech about being in a family in which Sydney was getting all the attention, and how hard it was to live, and she could never do anything. And then she goes into actually a pretty cool little tirade about the state of things these days, where you get famous for nothing by doing crazy stuff on the internet, which is funny because this was 2011, and yet that exact thing has only gotten worse. There are so many celebrities out there, a little lay-by here. There are so many, that monologue speech of hers is so relevant, because there are so many repulsive, famous celebrities who are are celebrities for nothing. They have no talent. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but that is true. But I've never seen some of the, like, Kim Kardashian. Why? That whole family. Why? Who gives up? What are they good for? What do they do? Do they do anything? They're not. Kim Kardashian, I mean, she's a talentless hack who has one of the ugliest hairstyles I've ever seen in my life. And personal, you can love her to death. I just don't get it. And so that monologue really rings so true, especially today, even though it was from 2011. Her, reason for doing what she's done is her jealousy and her wanting to be famous, and knowing that school or job or talent or acting or whatever, that's not going to do it. That you have to be a crazy asshole on social media to be a real celebrity. And yeah, that's just about it. And I'm not talking about normal content creators. I'm talking about those crazy people, doing crazy stuff for clicks, not content creators who are book reviewers or movie reviewers or music reviewers, or have, storytelling content or something. But yeah, I that monologue was flawless. So although she's a complete psycho, it's true. Her monologue on that side, one side is her jealousy, the other side was the fame thing. that part of the monologue is 100% accurate. If you go and watch this movie, it's 100% accurate today. So now that she gives her jealous reasons, they pull Trevor out of the closet, which is an homage to the original where they pulled her dad out of the closet. Threw him on the floor, but it don't go so well this time because she lays out her plan just like Stu and Billy had done, but how they're going to frame Trevor and they're going to kill Sydney, frame Trevor, and get away and be the heroes of the story. Jill fucking shoots him in the dick, which didn't see that coming. And like I said, with Sydney's dad, it didn't go. It didn't go like it did in the original. I guess Wes wasn't going to be that, close. So he ends up, she does kill him. She shoots him in the dick, which was, I can understand that, the, the don't cheat on me thing. But then she shoots him in the head, and he's dead. But then she betrays Charlie, and she stabs him in the chest and kills him. Then she goes on, she's also stabbed Sydney, so you think Sydney's dead. You know Trevor's dead. You know Charlie's dead. You think Sydney's dead. So she goes on. I have not seen anything. I mean, she was a psycho from hell. I haven't seen anything like what she done since Fight Club. If you remember the movie Fight Club, when Ed Norton goes into the boss's office and beats himself up in front of the boss who is sitting there, what the fuck are you doing? I've never seen anybody abuse themselves as much since then until this right here. She hurts herself badly. Stabs herself, busts herself through a coffee table, slams her own head into a picture frame. I mean, that was like you were just sitting there mesmerized at that scene. So she's taken off. The police come. They see everybody dead. She's taken off to hospital, where she comes to and talks about how sad it was, and she really thinks she's got the deal done. She's going to be the hero of the story. And then Dewey tells her that it's okay, that she doesn't need to be too sad about Sydney because Sydney still has a chance because she's still alive. So that sends her into almost like the end of Better Watch Out, when something... Oh, I promise to never give spoilers for that movie. So, no. It is like the ending. It's like what was going to happen at the ending of Better Watch Out, but I'm not going to tell you what that is. But it's like that. So she's like, well, I got to go kill Jill. Jill's got to go kill Sydney now, right? So, and she is such a psycho that she's not going to play around with it. So she goes into Sydney's ICU room while Dewey goes and visits Gail. And here's where the coup de grace happens. When he is explaining to Gail everything that happened, and she asked how Jill was doing. He told her about how she was going to be all right, and that they could write a book together or something because, they even shared the same scar now. And Gail is the one who solved it all by looking at Dewey and kind of realizing, oh, well, that's cute, so she got stabbed in the shoulder too. And Dewey's like, yeah. And then you saw Gail's eyes kind of go, a little light bulb turned on, and she looked at Dewey and said, but how does she know that that's where I got stabbed? So Dewey freaks out and he runs back to Sydney's room, and we're like, yeah, there you go. There you go. That's right. So she attacks Sydney. She's up on her, trying to strangle her. Then we have the boss fight. Um, Dewey manages to get back into the room where he is beaten senseless with a bedpan. I think they mistreated Dewey badly, in my opinion. But so she beats him with a bedpan and knocks him out, and turns around and ends up facing Gail, who had gotten out of the bed and came to help as well. Sydney's on the floor, about dead, and she faces off with Gail, and she's going to shoot Gail, but then Judy saves Gail. Because she had, Jill had gotten Dewey's gun. She shot at Gail, but Judy had ran in, which it made me feel bad. I'd already felt bad for Trevor, right? Because he wasn't guilty, and now Judy is obviously, was innocent as well. So she saved Gail, and Jill makes her turn over her gun. So she turns over the gun, and Jill shoots her. So you're kind of thinking that she's dead too. And that's when she faces off with Gail again. And Gail is like, just let me say one last thing. Meanwhile, Sydney has gotten the defibrillator charged up. And so she jumps up and defibrillates Jill's head. And you think she's dead. And Judy sits up from behind the bed. She was wearing a bulletproof vest. So that worked out. That was also like an homage to the third one, because it was vests were really saving the day in that movie as well at the end. So Judy was saved by a bulletproof proof vest. That was hard to get out. And so Judy pops up alive, and Jill jumps up, of course, one more time. And I liked the line that was said, because it's basically the ending line of the movie, and that was when she said, that they're always behind you. And Sydney was like, of course they are. So she didn't even need to know that somebody was behind her. She just knew it. The killer was behind her. So she grabbed the gun, turned around, and shot him. Shot her in the chest. So she's finally dead. And it goes to the reporters outside, who are talking about this hero Jill inside the hospital, because none of them know yet what we all know. And the show goes off, and there you go. That's the end of the story and the end of the franchise so far. So, I loved it. I loved everything about Scream 4. Everything about that movie was great to me. It's raining. I don't hear any thunder or lightning yet, but it's raining. Which might have been why the power went off. Something is coming, maybe. So I better finish this, yeah? So, I loved everything about this movie. And now we're going to do the ranking. Okay. That was quick and easy. Thankfully, there's not 12 like Friday the 13th or one of the other, big ones, however many there are in Friday the 13th. I would know the answer to that if I didn't hate a couple of them. But, okay. So, here's my ranking for the Steam franchise. Number 4 is Scream 2. I love it, of course. Remember what I said earlier. Being in 4th place means nothing really. It just means of these 4, which I love, all of them, this is the ranking in which I had the most fun, loved the characters the most, and stuff like that. So you got to put them in a ranking, and this is it. For me, Scream 2 is number 4. Number 3 in the Scream franchise is Scream 4. Absolutely adore this movie and everything about it. Number 2 in the Scream franchise is Scream 3. Yes. Well, maybe not for you, but yes for me. And number 1 and always is the original, except no substitute, Scream. So it's Scream, Scream 3, Scream 4, and Scream 2. Let's do that one more time. Number 4 is Scream 2. Number 3 is Scream 4. Number 2 is Scream 3. And number 1 is the original Scream. And that's my ranking for this franchise. It's really starting to pour. So I'm going to leave that with you. I probably could have talked some other stuff, but I do not want this to shut off. But it's okay if it does now. I'm through. But I thank you all for tuning in. Give me your ranking below if you would like. I would love to know other people's rankings and what you think about Scream 4. And let me know how you feel about it, the Scream franchise in general. And I am not sunburnt. I have bought, for my music videos and stuff, I've decided to try to play with some lighting. So I bought these really expensive, I can't hardly look at it. I bought these expensive red bulbs. They're red fluorescent bulbs, and I bought 2 blue fluorescent bulbs. And I'm having I don't know, I have to experiment about where to put them and how to use them, because I just thought I'd put the blue ones up here, the red ones over there, and I would have this really cool atmosphere. And my camera is like, you don't know what you're doing, man. And I'm like, I know, it looked like I was a red blob on Mars or something. It's like, I gotta figure out how to do these lightings with these pretty little fluorescent lights that I got. So I have to understand how my camera reacts to them. And yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that. But I appreciate you stopping by. I love you, miss you, bye. And I appreciate anybody. Love to talk about movies, love to talk about music. Always love to hear your thoughts on music or movies. If you have any movie that I happen to have, which you wouldn't know until you asked, that you would like me to do, just let me know. And I'll try to get back to music, like I said, as soon as I can figure out how I want to do these lights. Now that I've got my speakers back, my new speakers, and everything is fine. So I will catch you in the next one. I'll probably be doing an indie, crazy, so bad it's good B movie called Gutterballs next. And I definitely want to do a video on that. So that's probably what will come next. And that was it. That's the Scream franchise. That's my thoughts on Scream 4. And of course, the whole movie in story form for you. And yeah, so I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you, bye. And stay scary and keep screaming. Only when appropriate. You know what I mean? Do it when it's appropriate. Or just do it for the hell of it. Whatever. It's your life. Love you, bye.